that's why when I talk to people, I'm like, it's hard. It's going to be really hard. There's so much that needs to go well. And it's such a high level of risk that it's hard to turn that off. And I believe that if franchisors can tell their candidates that, and the franchisees are still willing to sign up, that is responsible franchising.
This is the most refreshing conversation I've had in a long time, because over the last year, how many hours have you worked a week on average?
So when I launched this, I didn't have any employees. And that's why it's so crazy when I hear people say they're just going to hire a GM and keep their job full time. I did everything. So I'd be up till 3 a.m. building systems. And that was because we didn't have any revenue yet, right? Like I was getting us ready to make sure that we could produce revenue and provide systems for franchisees. So I had to create them. And then since February, when we took it to market, I've hired a new person about every 2 weeks. We sold our first franchise in March of last year, and I had a considerable amount of capital to invest in people due to my raise. And then as you continue to hire people, you then no longer have that role to do yourself, and you hire someone who is better at you to do that thing. And I got to the point where I didn't have to do anything else other than talk to potential buyers, because that is the highest leverage thing that I could have done this year, is select the people who are going to get us to, a position where we're producing enough royalties to cover our costs. And the only way we're going to do that is to bring the right people in. And so now we've crossed 100 locations, and now I'm hiring for the role, and we're going to build a sales team, a franchise development team. So currently my schedule is 8 a.m. in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. I'm on phone calls with potential candidates. I have two one-on-ones with my executive team each week, and then they have one-on-ones with all their team members. So that's 50 hours. Now,
that's what's calendared.
That is what's calendared. Now, if you ask me how many hours I'm thinking about the business in my head, it's all the time. It's all the time. There is, when you start a business, it is such a high level of risk. And a lot of people don't understand this until you start a business. Like, there's so much on the line. I'm the sole provider of income in my house. I have 2 young kids. I have a 2.5-year-old son and a 14-month-old daughter. My wife stays at home with the kids. There's so much that needs to go well. And it's such a high level of risk that it's hard to turn that off. And that's where people come into place. Like, I have a senior vice president of operations. He handles ops. We have our one-on-one. He'll bring maybe 3 or 4 things that he needs my guidance on per week. I give him my guidance, and I know it's going to be handled. I have a VP of marketing. She manages multiple people underneath her, and I know that marketing is going to be handled. So that's why when I talk to people, I'm like, it's hard. It's going to be really hard. But like, you have a whole team of people on my team, and you have a bunch of other franchisees who are trying to do the same thing to make it less hard. But like, it's going to take up all of your time until you get to a point where you feel like you can delegate and remove responsibilities from your plate.
This is the most refreshing conversation I've had in a long time, because I love it. I love it. And this is kind of the conversation that I try to have with people. And yes, it is hard. And it's the people that go, sweet. The analogy I use is that if I just like walked up to you and just as hard as I could just punched you in the stomach without you expecting it, right? It's going to knock the wind out of you. You're going to be like, holy crap, you're not going to be able to breathe for like at least a good 30 to 45 seconds. But if I was like, hey, Aaron, all right, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to punch you in your stomach as hard as I can. So flex, right? And if you flex, you're like, okay, it hurt a little bit, but like it didn't knock the wind out of me. But it was because you were prepared for it. That was the expectation that was set. And it's like, okay, it's still going to be a little bit painful, but you're willing to endure the pain. And that becomes the message.
And I believe that if franchisors can tell their candidates that, and the franchisees are still willing to sign up, that is responsible franchising.
If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.